Well, Genius was born in 2018, right? How did you come up with this idea? What led you to think about how to present this brand, your collections, etc., etc.? So, what was the idea, the underlying idea? Well, there was not so much food for thought actually. We were a little bit bored about fashion and and fashion shows, etc. But the most important point is that the business was changing. It is very important to have a very diversified approach to the consumers, being closer to consumers. So this was our starting point. No seasonal approach, having contents every single month, having a relationship with the world. The world had changed. The traditional press was completely different compared to the past. Everything was digital, and we wanted to become like media as such. There were like products, we needed products and contents to be conveyed and communicated. This was the trivial beginning, so to say. But not that trivial actually. Okay, from the industrial logistic point of view, etc., we had to work a lot. The idea was having a customer relationship, which is paramount in my opinion. We were not a seasonal dependent company. And then also considering the DNA of our brand, Moncler, and the jacket, etc. So it was like putting our culture upside down. I was responsible for fitting twice or three times per season. Then I needed like a stylist. We needed to pool our strength and put everything, our efforts together, people that had great creativity in a coordinated project. So many difficulties at the beginning. Some of them were overcome, so we succeeded in overcoming them, but there are some which are big issues, so to say. So we were more physical at the beginning. We had a place for the people. It was like a building with 8 different windows. Yeah, 8 windows because you had 8 stylists, right? Yes, exactly. Our creative talents. And then we also wanted to find this kind of breeding ground. For example, this agreement of last week with John Imel, 25 years collaboration or something like that. So we tried to create this kind of relationship with many people from all over the world. And we were a place for very few people at the beginning. And now we are a place for many people, not for everyone. But we carried out a project in 5 cities, connected with 30 platforms all over the world with a very diversified approach. It should have been like a physical project, but Asia closed for on-site events, so it was also physical. It was on-site, but yeah, let's hope that COVID will be not that bad and we can get back to these on-site events with Asia as well. This was like a cluster. Yes, we had like 4 billion, 300 million reaches and 200 million views. This is just a step, an evolution. We wanted to go further, we wanted to go ahead, we wanted to create a physical experience in a digital world. It's not that easy actually, but this is something that is paramount when it comes to attracting new consumers and new communities. I think today it's not just about selling a product, it's about attracting a community. If we put everything together, opportunities and difficulties, etc., then we see that all these processes are not trivial. But I always leave my enterprise as a startup. I always question myself and I try to create this kind of 3-year plan within the companies. We also have very different points of view since we have exceptional, outstanding collaborators. and co-workers, but it's important to question ourselves every single day. We had a tremendous growth over the last few years, and it is important to look back at 2020. Well, what could have happened in the next 10 years has happened in 10 months, actually. So culture, the company, and the community and everything, well, everything goes together. And also the idea of a product that belongs to a person, of the having a product, possessing a product, and the customer experience, all these approach has completely changed. It's not just about being with the consumer, it's going to the consumer, and the consumer comes to your store, you have to show an item, so we have so many touch points in our world, and we wanted to set up a dream with a physical, digital experience through retailers. It's much more complicated, actually. We are obsessed with the idea of controlling channels, etc. We are very direct. We don't have any recent wholesales in the world. We want to control all these channels, and having a channel is very important for all of us. We have retailers, and we are trying to turn all of them into concessionaires, and this is also, Bizarre was talking about that. No, I was not there before. Well, yeah, concessions, exactly. This is a very important point, in my opinion. It's not about selling more. It's also the role of all the concessions. For example, the idea of a digital project. They are great communicators. They are very good. They perform very good in cultural terms. They provide outstanding services with their single brand shops and stores thanks to this platform. So they try to share their ideas and contents, what they want to do in the next month. It's not just about the quantity from this point of view. We need to tap into experiences, these omni-channel experiences, everything. This is the most complicated thing that we should do. It's a physical place, a physical space. We know each other. We have known each other for many years, and this is quite complicated, I have to say. But I also wanted to add, something about skills. This was one of today's keywords. How difficult was it to bring these new skills into your company, Genius? And how could you bring together all these people that could take part in Genius? Well, the company was very strong, actually, and they really surprised me with Giambattista Parigi and then Tom Brown in Milan. These were the first fashion shows. So we had to translate everything, to implement everything, set everything up. Well, I think that the company really reacted very well. Then it comes to fine-tuning all these strategies. Some weeks ago, the government talked about training in Italy, and they said it must be completely different because there is no school in Italy that can train all those people. We can work on training, but we also need this kind of basic training. There are so many people coming from all over the world. In my typical day in my office, I spend like 3-4 hours a month because I'm always abroad, I'm always around. But we have to think about something different, so a different way of training people. It's not just about digitalization, which is once again crucial, but 5 years ago we had logistical issues. No one thought about that. This was kind of a natural consequence of business. Today, this has become a strategic aspect. One pool inventor, for example, the fact that we have all the warehouses with the stores and shops, everything is interconnected and complex. I don't know how much of this is an opportunity, how much of this is a problem, an issue. We had big agglomerates from France and many marketing spending companies, R&D companies. Now we have to give a boost to consumer, more energy, more creative. This is another key point that we need to consider when we don't have so much money. This is one of the assets, one of the key points, once again, what has happened in the last few years, this kind of casualization. So men in general and all the people that wanted to take part in this world, well, 5 years ago, I couldn't figure out what would become for example, luxury stores, CRM, everything was perfect. But I think after 5 years, everything is upside down. I mean, we need to arrive at the customer in a completely different way. Virgin, Dior, but many other brands, and Gucci, they also did a great job, a great work. Balenciaga, for example, in the last 5 years, we had to change our approach, and these brands are the ones that are most successful nowadays. This kind of interaction and dialogue with the community is really vital nowadays. Moncler and the Made in Italy, well, a consumer from New York, what does he think? Is Moncler Italian, or maybe does it come from other parts of the world? Yeah, we have this kind of French flag. This was what we used to think of up to a few years ago in Grenoble, in France. But the company is no longer Italian. This is just a world company. Our turnover in Italy accounts for 8-9% only. Well, the other regions tell us how to play the game. This is a global competition, but we also have to be very national, with a lot of national and local roots. Let's think about Japan, China, Korea, with completely different cultures. So being local is paramount, even if we want to go global. So both things that go hand in hand, this kind of team and the customer retention, the retention of all these people, having a dialogue with all these people in order to understand what is going on. Let's think about digital economy in China. Everything is very easy, very simple from a theoretical point of view. Even if we know what WeChat is, what all the other tools are, or luxury pavilion in Temu, etc. I know everything. I can talk about that every single day, but it's easier said than done. I mean, it's not that we say, okay, we know it, we are aware of it, and we know it. No, knowing all these nuances is very difficult, and this is, in my opinion, fundamental. What are you mostly focused on? Well, I do a lot of skiing actually during this season. Yeah, because you have to test your products, right? Yes, of course. No, jokes aside, my idea for the future was what fascinates me most. So this kind of vision, there is no longer a plan, and this is very important, but flexibility is even more important. And 1982, this was the beginning of our products. They are very much present. I am very close to marketing, retail, the product area. We are a company without CEO, as I always say. I am the CEO, but we have 4 people that are really specialized in some of the areas. We have a brand officer, a chief corporate officer, a lot of people that are really specialized. So all these people from whom I learned a lot during an interview, and they really taught me a lot. So our structure today is really one of a kind in the luxury sector. We have no master, we have no slave. We meet every 10 days, once a week in this big room. We put all the ideas onto the table. We try to leave this room with shared ideas, which is not always easy, because we have all very strong and powerful persons and people that are there, but sometimes I'm also trying to be kind of a mediator. Well, I think that the outcomes are confirming this, right? Yes, Stone Island, you have acquired Stone Island, right? And you said that you have this kind of common philosophy and these commonalities and all these. Are you happy with that? I mean, what did you learn? And what did you understand, Stone Islands? What did you give them? And what did they learn? Stone Island, if I have to sum it up, we weren't looking for an acquisition. The vitality of a brand lies in its growth, and then we had this opportunity. This was a great opportunity, and my son also got to know Carlos. We had some years of discussion, and after these years, we understood that we also have very common values, very close to our brand, and this kind of being strict. This company is very well managed, yeah, as we were more or less 10 years ago in that historical moment. It was not yet our core business, and now this competition is very important with Stone Island. So considering the culture, the structure, I think that this progress that we enabled in 2010 when we wanted to become direct to customer and have the opportunity to get in touch with customers directly. So this was kind of a competition. This is a cultural change and shift. We have to find the right people that want to move ahead. So I tried, and I still try to change this culture. This is just different, and we can see it. Well, let's think about this company, which is direct to customer and to consumer, but it is also a digital company because we have a very interesting digital turnover with Moncler, and this is great challenge. So I think that if we can do it together and as a group, this is as a family, so to say, and we have to develop our skills. After 10 years, we have to help each other and further develop this kind of culture. So this is a direct to customer or to consumer culture. Well, this is your role at Moncler, but did you have the opportunity to talk about this genius world or something similar on Stone Island? I mean, do you think that also Stone Island should make this kind of disruptive choice, or should have more consistent approach? Well, we just tried to help them in a way, to support them. In December 1 year ago, we said, okay, we need 18 months to reorganize this kind of machine. I call them filters between companies and consumers. We are trying to buy back some consumer distributors and to reduce or to put these filters between consumers, etc. So before doing things, you have to get this control back, right? Yeah, this is one of our goals, being close to the consumer. Then we also have marketing strategies. Well, we know that there is always a lack of time, but we need a very strong machine, a strong company before changing direction. It was just by chance. So do you think there will be something else in the pipeline, or you are in the luxury sector, right? You have Kering, Ronak, and then Valentino, Zegna, even if he's a part of a group, and Zegna should get listed shortly. What is your idea on that? Well, hopefully we won't have any other acquisitions. We have 2 startups in front of us. So in terms of culture, we have Moncler, and the other one is also a startup. We are really, really committed and very, very engaged. Well, I think it's better to do less, but well and better. My hope is that we will be able to develop what the market relies on, our markups, our margin. I think that thanks to our machine, to the machinery we have, we will be able to do that. I think we will do it. We will make it. Okay, last question maybe, or another question for you, the same I asked to Martino. Well, starting with or from your stories, well, what can an SME do in such a world? This kind of complexity, is this something that you only see as a part of the Champions League and not for other championships, or maybe is this the same challenge? I think it's something that applies to everybody. Well, the approach has changed a lot, and I was talking about that at the beginning. It's not just about selling a product, it's about attracting and fascinating a community. This is something that applies to every single company. The digital has given more transparency to our message, and this is something really unpredictable. So you have like news, breaking news, after 1 hour everything is has hit the headlines. And this is really about fascinating communities, which is paramount for every single company. Eco Lab and this new business model for collaborating with stylists and brands with New Balance, as we did in the past. Well, is this going to be a model in the future as well, or will we be fed up with it? Well, I think we need a revolution. The first collaboration or partnership was done in 2004 with Giulio Atanabe and many other. When I started with the Genius, this was kind of an old project in this Genius building. I think we need a lot of developments and evolutions, and this is something that we had in the past, and I think that we will we wanted to involve other people with different backgrounds, with other culture. John Island is an example. So he was the one who drew super industrial design, like a product. And this kind of contamination will be next step of this world. This is the last question. Do you think that the Moncler world is going to be extended? So today you do like glasses, technical things, and clothing. Bulgar Hotel is a successful project, right? Do you think that Moncler is going to be extended, like Moncler hotels, accommodation facilities, or just clothing? I don't know. I really believe in experience, as you were telling before, and I always believe in what can be done with experience. I think it has stopped a little bit in the last 2 years, but when we went back to food and beverage after the first lockdown, well, we had some differences. We had change, not just in Milan, in Paris, in London, etc. People really need experiences. Now we have a local experiences because we can't travel. There are these travel bans. But this experience is a really fundamental store experience, shop experience, Vittorio Emanuele or in Napoleone, etc. So I think this experience will be very important, more and more important. So Moncler hotels, maybe, who knows, maybe in the future. Thank you very much, and thank you for being here. Thank you very much to all of us. To all of you, sorry. I'd like to thank all the organizers, our partners, all my partners as well, and collaborators without whom all this could not be possible or wouldn't have possible. We will meet at the 27th Fashion Summit, which will take place in 2022. Thank you.